Liverpool had struck Newcastle swap deal as Alexander Isak's situation makes return likely. Alexander Isak has been linked to a Newcastle exit. Liverpool and Newcastle United could find themselves tangled up in a transfer tug-of-war for the second consecutive summer. Rewind 12 months, and the pair were reportedly close to agreeing a move that would have seen two big-name stars transfer between the two clubs. The Daily Mail reported that Anthony Gordon was of interest to Liverpool, who are said to have agreed a £75 million deal with Newcastle. Meanwhile, Newcastle were believed to be offering £45 million for the services of out-of-favor defender Joe Gomez instead. While the deals for PSR purposes wouldn't have officially gone down as a player plus cash swap, it's claimed the deals were close to going through, with Gordon even having explored the possibility of a medical. Of course, the deals collapsed, meaning Gordon stayed at Newcastle and Gomez at Liverpool, where he picked up a second league winners medal. However, there's potential for a similar situation to play out this summer, given Liverpool and Newcastle both hold interest in each other's squads. For Liverpool, their focus is on Alexander Isak, as Arne Slot looks to firm up the tip of his attack. Harvey Elliott is expected to leave Liverpool this summer. Meanwhile, Newcastle are rumored to be showing an interest in one-away star Harvey Elliott, who shone during England's recent Under-21 Euros campaign. The former Fulham starlet is expected to depart Anfield ahead of the new season, having found minutes hard to come by under new manager Slot. Any potential deal involving Isak will likely cost a little more than Liverpool would have spent on Gordon last summer, given Newcastle are said to value the striker in excess of £150 million. But given the pair were reportedly willing to do business last summer, what's to say they don't pick up the phone and re-enter negotiations in the coming weeks and months? Plans could be influenced by Newcastle's PSR situation, given the Northeast outfit have been hamstrung by the restrictions in the past. So much so, former co-owner Amanda Staveley had to sell all her shares in the club for Newcastle to avoid any PSR-related punishment. She told The Athletic, "I knew what was coming in terms of me leaving, but the fans and PIF deserved every focus of mine. Had I left before the PSR deadline and we breached, then that would have been bad. It was very, very difficult. But I was determined to make sure Newcastle CEO Darren Eales has a clear runway." Noni Madueke to Arsenal transfer means one thing for Esteban Willian and Chelsea. Noni Madueke is on the verge of completing a move to Arsenal after the Gunners struck a £52 million agreement with Chelsea for the 23-year-old winger on Thursday evening. Noni Madueke is set to join Arsenal. Despite Arsenal supporters' best efforts, Noni Madueke is on his way to the Emirates Stadium. Wednesday, 24 hours before Chelsea and the Gunners reached a £52 million agreement for the 23-year-old services #Noto Madueke was trending on social media. Some Arsenal fans even created a petition to try and prevent their club from signing the England international. While Arsenal supporters may not be pleased at this moment in time, this is a deal they should wait until they reach their full judgment. In Madueke, they have a young player with bags of potential and one you feel is ready to explode at some point. Despite showing warning signs of doing that at Stamford Bridge, the Blues were never able to detonate Madueke. Either way, a £52 million agreement is one that seems to make sense for both clubs. Arsenal get their man, a rotation option with Bukayo Saka, or perhaps someone Mikel Arteta will deploy from the left-hand side. As for Chelsea, they pocket a profit of over £20 million after signing the England winger from PSV Eindhoven in January 2023 for a figure understood to be close to £30 million. The FIFA Club World Cup will see 32 of the world's best club teams, including Man City, Chelsea, Real Madrid, PSG, and Bayern Munich, play across 63 games from June 14th, July 13th. Chelsea needed to do something regarding their winger situation. Pedro Neto has quickly become Enzo Maresca's first-choice option on the right wing, with the Portuguese producing a remarkable run of performances at the FIFA Club World Cup. Meanwhile, Esteban Willian will arrive at Cobham later this summer from Palmeiras, and it goes without saying how highly Chelsea think of the 18-year-old Brazilian. You can now see a defined role for Esteban, who scored against Chelsea in the Club World Cup quarterfinal in Philadelphia earlier in the month, with Madueke departing. At one point, having Neto and Madueke as options made it very difficult to see a world where Esteban would fit into Maresca's plans. Now, though, Esteban will be a rotational option with Neto. Madueke has been a divisive figure throughout his time at Chelsea. Some believe he has the potential to become a genuine world beater in the future, while others have labeled him as selfish and frustrating. It is safe to say Maresca has had his issues with Madueke, with the Blues head coach leaving him out of 2 squads over the course of the 2024-25 Premier League, once a technical decision, while the other was down to his training levels not being high enough. There were doubts there, and Maresca even seemed frustrated with the situation when asked about Madueke's future after the win against Palmeiras a week ago. Madueke moving to Arsenal will now pave the way for Estevao to flourish, and even if he is just half as good as Chelsea are expecting, then Madueke's move is likely to feel like a blessing in disguise. Arsenal worried over Victor Gyökeres transfer and Liverpool's Florian Wirtz deal shows why. While Arsenal are front-runners to sign Victor Gyökeres, the Gunners have yet to agree a fee for the striker with Sporting CP, with Troy Deeney claiming the club are not convinced of the Swede's value. Victor Gyökeres is likely to leave Sporting CP this summer after 2 years in Portugal. Arsenal are said to be worried over whether Victor Gyökeres is the answer to their solution, as Troy Deeney questioned why the transfer for the striker continues to drag on. The Premier League side have long been linked with the signing the Sporting CP star, with interest in the Swede spanning back to last summer. While Mikel Arteta's side are favorites to land the 27-year-old, the two parties are failing to come to an agreement on the fee. The Portuguese champions are said to be requesting £60.3 million, €70 million, and £8 million, €10 million, in add-ons for their talisman. Despite a lack of agreement on the transfer fee, Arsenal and Gyökeres are said to have already agreed personal terms on a 5-year contract that'll see the striker return to England for the first time since leaving Coventry City in 2023. The long-running saga for Gyökeres' signature has left Deeney convinced that the North London side are not convinced of the Swede's value. Speaking on Talk Sports kickoff show, the ex-Watford captain said, "I don't think they're sold on Gyökeres, I really don't." He compared Arsenal's slow and steady approach of Gyökeres to Liverpool's relatively speedy signing of Florian Wirtz in a potential British record £116 million deal. Deeney claimed a deal would already be done for the striker if Arteta was sold on the idea that the Swede was the answer to his attacking problems. Because you just go and get him, you get it done, if Arsenal were really keen, he explained. Mikel Arteta is in the market for a new striker, the same way that Liverpool did with Wirtz. They just went, bang, go and get him, get it finished. I think they're worried that he's not only the short-term answer, but not the long-term answer. Buying a striker has long been on the wish list for Arsenal fans, who've seen the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz tried and tested up front, but to no avail. Benjamin Sesko was very much being considered, but again a fee could not be agreed with RB Leipzig. Deeney admitted he believes Arteta's stubbornness could be the thorn holding up a deal for Gyökeres. The 37-year-old said, "This is my opinion. I think Arteta is a little bit stubborn at this moment in time because everyone's been calling for it to sign a striker. If he does that and then wins it, the Premier League, it's going to be like, oh, we told you that. Florian Wirtz became Liverpool's most expensive player last month. It's not going to be his thing. There's a little element of stubbornness and a feeling of, we could do it our way." I find it interesting that we're seeing more talk with Madueke that looks like it's closer to being done than the strikers. With talks at a standstill between Arsenal and Sporting, record claim that Gyökeres could look to secure a loan move late in the transfer window should a move to the Premier League side fail to come to fruition. The striker remains adamant that he will not represent Sporting again, and if a deal with Arsenal does not materialize, Gyökeres could well look to temporarily join a fellow European club this summer. The three alternatives that Man United could consider. If Mbeumo deal falls through, Man United have yet to table a third bid for Brentford forward Bryan Mbeumo at the time of writing. There are even reports that the Bees may reject future offers for the Cameroon international if they allow Yoane Wissa to join Tottenham. A deal from Mbeumo could still be agreed if the Red Devils make an offer that matches Brentford's asking price. However, if they fail to land the 25-year-old, who else could Ruben Amorim's side pursue? Press the next page as we list 3 left-footed forwards right-wingers who may be targeted instead. Tyler Dibbling. Sky Sports Germany journalist Florian Plettenberg claims that Man United are among 4 clubs who have retained an interest in the Southampton youngster. West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and Tottenham are also said to be pursuing Dibbling, who could cost between £47 million and £52 million. That is a lot of money for a 19-year-old who has yet to prove that he can provide goals and assists at the highest level. Last season, Dibbling scored 4 times and registered 3 assists in 38 appearances for the Saints. Francisco Trincao. The winger is a player that Ruben Amorim will know well, having joined Sporting Lisbon from Barcelona, initially on loan, in the summer of 2022. Trincao has matured since he was last in the Premier League with Wolves, and he is still only 25, the same age as Mbeumo. Last season, the Sporting forward scored 11 goals and contributed 19 assists in 54 appearances. It should also be pointed out that Trincao has a €60 million, £52 million release clause in his contract. Magnus Akliuch. The 23-year-old has been linked with the likes of United, Arsenal, and Manchester City in recent months. Akliuch is a tricky winger with plenty of potential, and there is scope for him to explode over the next few years. Last season, the France international found the back of the net 7 times and provided 12 assists. Those numbers don't compare too favorably to Mbeumo, and Monaco are said to be demanding €70 million, £60 million. Liverpool received shock. Alexander Isak bombshell after record-breaking Newcastle report drops that changes everything. A huge report has emerged, and it could affect Liverpool's pursuit of Alexander Isak. Liverpool have been put on red alert over Alexander Isak as a shock Newcastle United transfer report has emerged. Liverpool and Newcastle have recruited new players this summer, with both teams looking at further additions ahead of the new season. The Reds smashed their club record transfer to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen, with Jeremy Frimpong also making the switch to Anfield. Milos Kerkez has also been snapped up by the Premier League champions. The Magpies, meanwhile, have signed Spanish youngster Antonio Cordero and are closing in on the signing of Nottingham Forest Anthony Elanga in a deal worth £55 million. Despite Eddie Howe's team securing a spot in the Champions League, Isak has been the subject of intense transfer speculation. Liverpool are believed to be weighing up a move for Isak and have been given the green light to complete a blockbuster transfer. Alexander Isak is on Liverpool's radar. Isak isn't the only star forward dominating the transfer rumor mills, as Hugo Ekitike's name continues to be linked with several clubs, including Newcastle. According to French outlet RMC Sports, the 23-year-old is attracting interest from 3 clubs with the means to match their ambitions. Newcastle are among the chasing pack that also includes Saudi Arabia's Al Qadsiya and Al Hilal, who have contacted the player's entourage. Per the report, however, Ekitike's preference is to stay in Europe for the time being. He is believed to be worth a staggering €100 million, £86 million, which would shatter Newcastle's club record transfer. In a separate report, Fabrizio Romano added that Newcastle are keen on Ekitike. Newcastle United are interested in signing Hugo Ekitike this summer. Ekitike, who was on the books at Paris Saint-Germain, scored 22 goals in 48 matches across all competitions for Eintracht Frankfurt last season. The towering French forward came through Reims' youth academy before breaking into their first team. He went on to sign for Frankfurt, who activated the buy option in his loan deal from PSG. The Bundesliga side spent €16.5 million, £14.2 million, to acquire his services on a permanent deal.